And we are live. Welcome back, guys and gals. We're gonna just dive straight into the question. If you have any comments or other questions while you catch this live stream, leave them in chat and I can get to answering those questions. So, as the title suggests, do you feel that bigger and stronger calves help your squats, deadlifts, Olympic lifts in any way, even if minuscule? From personal experience, when I first started, my very first program I ran was with a friend, bodybuilding routine. I did train calves, but I didn't start training for strength until maybe after that. So 1 year after that, I did starting strength and Grace P and all that good stuff without training calves. And then I did advance my squat to about 275. And then as I rode the progression into late beginner and early intermediate, I hit 315 for 3 sets of 5 on a linear progression program, also starting strength. Didn't train calves at all. Then I went through a couple years, 4, 5, 6 years maybe, of doing my own thing. I think I did include some calf work, but nothing too extreme. And currently, I didn't do any calf work. And right before my current programming, 1 to 2 years ago, I did do some. So you could say overall, I do cycle my calf exercises. I It was unintentional. I didn't plan it this way. It just at the time with the situation I have, with the injuries I have sustained, and the way I wanted to progress and try new programs and to figure out how to train myself independently. That's how my journey turned out to be. And would I say that the calf training helped me in any way? Yeah, I would agree. Leads me to my second point. I definitely drew inspiration from Mark Bell, Super Training. He says it best: weakness is never a strength, and strength is never a weakness. So if you had weak calves, that is just one reason why you could not be progressing. Now, don't get me wrong, the three lifts, squats, deadlifts, and the Olympic lifts, when are you gonna be tested on calf raise or do plantar flexion like that? Or actually, in triple extension, you do want to have some sort of calf strength because you are plantar flexing to get into that triple extension uh, phase, but it seems more like a motor issue and neural adaptation rather than a strength issue at that point, because you want to fire everything at the same time and rely on the bigger muscles to carry you through while having flawless technique. But back to Mark Bell's quote: if you have weak calves, it's what can that do other than inhibit you? It's not strength. And if you do have strong calves, whether you train them or it's just naturally when you apply a little bit of training, you have a huge response to it. And even with that, calf strength, what can it do for you? It can only improve, and it's something that you don't need to focus on, and you can focus your energy on whether or not you have form issues, technique issues, or do you actually need to work on your quads or hamstrings, some of the bigger muscles required to actually sustain the load. Because let's let's face it, the calves just help support your body. It's for stabilization. In these barbell movements, they don't directly contribute to any of the huge amount of gains that you will probably see. You'll probably, if you are a betting man, if you bet on just training form, if you do bodybuilding routine targeting the large muscle groups, your hip flexors, quads, hamstrings, your back, guaranteed you'll see more results with either those training methods versus focusing on hammering out getting a bigger circumference in your calves, or just increasing your calf strength on standing or just seated calf raises. Guaranteed. But it's not to say that it won't have any effect. I'd love to see some research articles. Maybe there are some, but I didn't take a look. Kind of touched on my third point I wanted to bring for this question. It's about the genetic capabilities. So some people just naturally train calves less, but they can still carry forward throughout their training program, still have the calf strength, even though they're not purposefully activating the muscle, but the co-contraction, the stabilization required when they squat heavy, deadlift heavy, or just do any Olympic lifts, uh, it trains it enough. So for those individuals, they are training their calves. But for some people that need a little bit more stimulus, maybe they have an average response, or they just need a lot of volume just to get something to tell their body to wake up. Now, for them, they actually need to do some calf work so that they don't lag behind. And it's nothing wrong or imperfect. It's just the way your body responds to training, and that's how you yourself uh, are different from each individual, and that's how you will need to progress. So, with that aside, you can see that for the first person that can hold on to their calf gains either naturally or with very little stimulus, they might say they don't see anything. They don't see any progress with bigger or stronger calves because they don't need to train it. They find that if they just train squats or deadlifts, they blow up. Whereas the other person, they might say they might need a little bit of calf training once a week in a big macro cycle, and then afterwards, when you test their max, but they're also training pretty hard on all the other supplemental lifts, accessory lifts, and the main movements. And then when you combine all of the training they've done and put it forward at the end result at a meet or at a 1 rep max test, they they perform and they hit their goal. So all the hard work pays off at the end. So what really works? Is it the hard work, or is it a combination of the program, and their effort and intelligent recovery? Lots of factors than just pointing at, oh yeah, it's the bigger calf or the bigger, stronger genetics. The last point I like to bring out is just thinking about all the big squatters that have nailed and like shocked the world of how well they squat. Back then, maybe 5 years ago, it was uh, Ray Williams with his 1,000 pound squat. Man, tree trunk legs, huge calves, and just a ton of lifters that seem to be naturally built for the squat. They seem to have very big calves, but their legs are equally, if not tree trunk like in terms of just sheer size. Man. So muscle size is important. What's my point? Muscle size is important because the bigger a muscle is, the greater potential it has to getting stronger and connect more motor units, which relates to the question being asked. Can they help? Yes, because can bigger and stronger calves help? Yes, because there's just more motor units to attach and wire together to perform a compound movement. Just a clear, simple answer that way. All right, that's it for that question. Let me know what you think about training calves. And then there's all these different movements about team no calves or team small calves that just keeps coming up throughout the last decade. So when I first started training, Omar Isov was team team skinny legs, team no calves, and just making a joke out of it. But yeah, I guess if you're training that long and You trying to build an audience, trying to gather people that have similar interests, and you need to have them hooked onto something. He does a good job, and it's definitely catchy. But we gotta break away from that sort of paradigm of labeling ourselves negatively and focus on our strengths more. Focus on how we can improve. So that's just that. Okay, great. So if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I can get to them when I get the chance to see them. So thank you for listening.